Asian convenience store owner in South Carolina, was acquitted of murder after shooting a 14-year-old Cyrus Carmack Belton, a black 14-year-old, in the back after chasing him from his store. Cyrus was, again, like I said, a black child, 14 years old, accused, chased, and shot in the back. And a jury let that shooter walk on murder, blatant murder, 100%. Carmelo Anthony, a young black man in Texas, here in Texas, was convicted of murder and sentenced to 35 years after stabbing Austin Metcalf. This individual, Metcalf, was a white teen at a Frisco track meet. And Carmelo's claimed self defense, and the jury rejected it. And so reporting says there were no black jurors. I wasn't there, so I can't say, oh, yeah, she was a person of color or she was black. I couldn't say that. I wasn't there. So, again, different cases. But the question standing in the middle of the room as a distraction to a whole lot of stuff is who gets who gets to be afraid and still be protected by the law? That's one question. And the other question, or the other part to that question, is who gets treated like danger before they even get to explain their fear? Because one thing I'm tired of is soft language around the whole case, right? White fear gets believed, black fear, uh, anti-black fear gets believed, uh, police fear gets believed, store owner fear gets believed, right? Asian merchant fear gets believed enough, especially in South Carolina, that a courtroom for a black child shot in the back to be a lawful outcome. I'm still trying to figure that out till this day. But black fear, right? Question mark. Oh man, black fear gets treated like aggression, y'all. Treated like guilt, like motive, like a lie, right? Like something the jury can just throw away. That's why this episode tonight matters. I definitely want y'all to know because justice does not weigh fear evenly or equitably in America. And so let me say this too before we go another further. Anti-blackness is not only white. I just want y'all to know it's not only white people. Anti-blackness can be white. It can be Asian, Iranian, Jewish, Arab, or Arab, Latino, African immigrant, Caribbean immigrant, police, a judge, a prosecutor, a merchant, a landlord, um, a school official, if you will. It could be even media personalities. But you know, one thing that sticks out the most is that a black person who thinks repeating somebody else's contempt, if you will, makes them look safe, smart, and respectable. Any group can carry anti-blackness. Any group can. Um, and any group can profit from black people and still look down on black people. Um, any group can come into black neighborhoods, open a store, take, black dollars, watch black children, call the police on black bodies, disrespect black grief or trauma, and then
Mm.
act confused when the community says enough is enough. So tonight we're not playing polite. If Asian merchants are operating in black communities while treating black youth and other individuals like threats. We are saying Asian merchants. Yeah. If white citizens, I guess you call yourself white, even those that consider themselves to be Native American, um, those citizens fear being treated as more reasonable than black survival. Um, Definitely are saying white citizens. We're calling y'all out. If white juries, white judges, white prosecutors, or white media frames shape outcomes, we're saying white institutions. Okay. Um, Even Jewish or Iranian, Arab, Latino, African immigrant, or any other non-black business class that profits from black communities while carrying anti-black suspicion, we are naming that behavior too. Um, and of course, scoot in if you're black, because black folks follow their lead, defend their contempt, and help criminalize our own children, our own people, because they are desperate for whatever reason. We are naming that too. So this is not blanket hate. This is not, a direct indictment. If the conduit fits, wear it, Cinderella. And I think all y'all feet gonna slide smooth in these glass slippers on tonight. Tonight we're of course taking three shots. Shot one for the table. Um, the taste, of course, for tonight in the first shot is who gets to be afraid. The second shot, get your taste buds ready for that one because the verdict starts before the verdict. Did y'all get that? Yeah,
Got it.
that's gonna be some tricky liquor. And the third shot is who profits, who fears, who pays. And at the end, of course, we're gonna give y'all some closing thoughts. And I'm definitely reminding our people who we are, what we process, and why we better stop acting like we are powerless when the whole world keeps feeding from us, off of us. So yeah, family that's listening, drop your city in the chat. Answer this question before we get started. Before I bring in my crew, whose fear does America believe first and the fastest? That's the one I want to know. Whose fear does America believe first and the fastest? Um, my crew, man, I know y'all been waiting for this show since this kind of story popped out. Uh, First up is my big sister, Dr. Catherine Campbell. Say good evening to the people, Queen.
Hey, people.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Dr. Campbell is precision. I want y'all to know she hears pain under the language and catches um, when people use soft words, if you will, to hide their biases. Sis, tonight I definitely need that clean blade because fear becomes dangerous when the law believes it for some people and criminalizes it on us.
I'll bring the
So welcome.
proficiency. To
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And I'm gonna need a hot towel before that. How about it? Welcome to the table, sis. Next up, my big brother Perry Busby. Say good evening to the people.
Good evening, everyone.
Absolutely. That's Barry White, brother. Writer, analysis, receipt puller, pattern tracker. Of course, Perry follows the case, facts, media, the framing that they give you, the courtroom pathway, public narrative, if they want to call it that. The jury lane, I'm telling you, gonna be poking in and probing into, and historical echoes. Tonight, big bro, we need receipts because verdicts do not just fall from the sky or able to be picked from trees like a whole bunch of us wish money was. But
Mhm.
Welcome to the table, big bro. My little brother Dustin is definitely here. Say good evening to the people, Dustin Harris.
What up, people?
Yes, indeed. Veteran, straight shooter, ground level truth. Dustin brings it down to the parent, to the youth, to the store owner, to the block, to the courtroom, to the track meet. How about it? He ran track too. And and the person who knows black presence can definitely be treated as suspicious before black truth is even heard. Dustin, welcome in. And of course, to our listeners and watchers and viewers on tonight on all platforms, we welcome you in. And if, of course, you want to come to the table, reach out to myself or to our platform host, Tony Renfro, and tune in on Sundays at 7 p.m. to the Knowledge is Power podcast live on, again, the Knowledge is Power podcast to be Knowledge is Power Network. Let's get it in, y'all. Round one. Round one. Who gets to be afraid? Of course, I put a little seasoning on the rim for y'all. Reasonable fear, racial suspicion, and black humanity on trial. Round one starts with the question underneath all of this: who gets to be afraid? Uh, America has never treated fear equally. We know that some people's fear become reasonable doubt, self-defense, protection of property, stand your ground, that is protection of family. It becomes instinct. Fear becomes law for some individuals. But black fear gets treated like aggression, like guilt, like proof that we are like we have to prove that we're uh dangerous. We aren't dangerous all along. Like, we're in danger. We got to prove that we're in danger. And that's the sickness, y'all. The law may say reasonable person, but reasonable through whose eyes, right? Uh, White eyes, Asian merchant eyes, police eyes, jury eyes with no black jurors. Man, make that make sense. Media eyes already decided which child looked innocent or individual looked innocent, which individual looked threatening. Make that make sense. Because that matters, y'all. Cyrus was 14 years old. A black child accused of stealing a bottle of water, chased over 100 yards away from the alleged theft happened, shot in the back, and somehow the system found enough room to protect the shooter's fear. Mind you, they didn't know he had a gun until he was shot and fell. Make that make sense? Carmelo Anthony was a black teen in a confrontation with several white teens. Now the video shows, or I'm sorry, videos shows. He claimed fear, even professed that I asked him not to put his hand on me. He claimed self-defense. A jury rejected it. No black jurors were allegedly seated, and now he uh, has 35 years sitting on his life. Different cases, but the question remains: whose fear got recognized? Who gets faulted? Who gets freedom? Right? Dr. Campbell, you ready for your shot?
Ben.
When courts and media describes one person's fear as reasonable and another person's fear as aggression, what does that reveal about whose humanity is being protected?
It reveals that protection is a privilege, not a right. When your
Hmm.
fear gets called reasonable, you're seen as a victim who deserves safety. When your fear
Oh.
gets called aggression, I'm seen as a threat who deserves control.
Hmm.
Same emotion, different label. That tells you exactly who the system is built to shield and who it's built to suspect.
Correct.
It's not about who's actually afraid. It's about whose fear is believed and whose fear is punished.
Correct. Correct. 100%. That's exactly it right there, Dr. Campbell. I mean, humanity is being rationed, if you will. White fear gets room or groomed. Asian merchant fear gets groomed. Police fear gets groomed.
Mm.
But black fear comes into court already handcuffed. Man, make that make sense. If the fear explains their violence, Dr. Campbell, but but our fear explains our guilt, then the law is not weighing humanity equitably. Am I right about it?
You're correct.
Man, that's the injury. Before facts are weighed, people are imagined, if you will, given and dehumanized. And if the room cannot imagine a black child scared, a black teen as concerned, a black young woman or man as human, then justice is already leaning, I guess you will say, before the verdict even comes. Appreciate that, big sis.
Like the quote unquote pre verdict, huh?
Right. Oh, oh, you know something was coming out of there. I had to put my head down. Man, the guest question for this round, their shot is, what does the public misunderstand about self-defense, reasonable fear, and what a jury is actually allowed to consider? Anybody could definitely answer that or respond to that. Please feel free.
Okay. People think of self defense as being right, but for a jury, it's about being reasonable, and reasonable is whatever that specific jury thinks they would have done in that exact moment.
Mm,
Here's what gets missed. You don't have to be actually in danger. You just have to honestly believe you are. And that belief has to make sense to 12 strangers. Your past, your size, your skin, your neighborhood, all of that can come in, even though it's not supposed to.
mm-hmm.
Juries are human. They bring their own what would I do with them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're not judging the shooting, they're judging the split second before it. And they get to replay that split second in slow motion with no adrenaline, no fear, and no noise. So the public
Correct.
thinks, did they have to shoot? The jury actually asks, would a scared, reasonable person in their shoes have pulled that trigger too? The gap between your fear and their idea of reasonable is where the whole case lives.
Hmm. Hmm. And that's what's needed right there. Self-defense is not a magic phrase. A jury had to or has to believe the fear, the timing, the force, and the law, right? But
Right.
like you said, that's exactly why bias matters. Race does not replace the law at all. Race shapes what people believe inside of the law. That's where the poison hide, if you will, in the snake, not on it. Mm. Perry, you ready for your shot?
Yes, sir.
What patterns show up across cases where black youth or black individuals are treated as threats before all facts are shown or known, for that matter?
Yeah. Uh the pattern is the systemic um racism that lies within American culture.
Mm.
James Baldwin famously said in his book on being white and other lies uh, that white is not a biological or cultural race,
Mm.
but rather a social or political invention.
Mm.
Black is not a people, it's a predicament.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so when you bring that tension into the court of public opinion, um, I mean, we have for generations been seen as either inhuman or extremely violent. I mean,
Mm.
we can't forget um, the late Secretary of State Hillary Clinton claiming that young black men were super predators. Um, Regardless of how many white mass murders, regardless of Columbine or the killings
Yes,
in
sir.
Las Vegas,
Oklahoma bombing.
all you have to do is, I mean, if we're going to look at it local, all you have to do is look at any Facebook post by the news or the police regarding any incident regarding a young black male,
Mm.
and to that extent, a young black female. And the first response you will see is that these are the usual suspects. It
Correct.
has become the common coding that all violence permeates from a black culture. And so when you have incidents like what we see in the child case, and the child case is just a repeat of the Latasha Harlins case in L.A., except we went from orange juice to a bottle of water, and
Water.
in both cases, uh, the victim or the supposed predator in the
Mm.
case had paid or was willing to pay, uh, and confusion erupted. And in both cases, you see you see uh, not just the jury, because I believe the jury gets pulled into the fray because the
Mm-hmm.
court has already set the framing. The
Correct. Correct.
prosecution has already outlined where they're going, and so the defense, uh, God bless the soul. I mean, we need more Johnny Cochran's to just not fight the racism, but to bring some logical sense and to understand this concept to pull race away from it. And but yeah, um, long before the um defendant takes his seat, long before the opening remarks, and surely well after the closing arguments, the jury has pretty much set in its biases.
Yeah.
I mean, you can look at the Carmelo case, you can look at the Child case. uh the jury, being human, begins to view those uh who begin to say, look at the evidence, let's be more logical in what's being presented, uh usually seems to fall along, if not racial lines, political lines, and surely, um as Baldwin says, this idea that we must assimilate, just not to America, but to the whiteness of America.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, absolutely correct. Um, and from what I'm hearing, Perry, that pattern sounds like adultification and negrification. or
Right. I
or
mean, we can look at the
or
Emmett Till.
niggification. Yeah,
Yeah, Emmett Till is another example of. I mean, you get a teenager
correct.
uh,
Accused wrongfully,
accused, makes a childish gesture, or
allegedly.
any other male, for that matter, any other male response,
Yeah,
white or black. I mean, let's just say his hormones kicked in,
mm,
and now
man,
he's seen as a predator. So
correct.
again, we look at this as young blacks not allowed to be human or to show their humaneness.
Man, and that's sad because a black child can be 12, 14, 17, 4 because the baby that was shot by the police officer. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. This is not neutral language, y'all. This
Hmm.
is if we can call it racial scaffolding. I mean, because every term we look, it's more blatant now than it has ever been, and individuals that are not of Negroid descent or I don't even know, Negro empathizers, if you will, team members, allies, coalescers, you know, and the whole time we're asking them individuals where y'all at for speaking. Some of those individuals aren't even speaking about these atrocities that are happening in current times. So in a little while, we don't want to hear nobody talk about, well, slavery was before my time. Dustin, you ready for your shot?
Indeed.
When a person pursues, confronts, or escalates a situation, should self-defense still carry the same weight, or should the system examine who created the danger?
I think first the system need to stop only looking up the definition of words. But cool, because the definition of self-defense can be very subjective. What they should do, when you look at the definition, there's a little thing right below it where it keep explaining the word further. That's where they need to look. Look up the primary goal of self-defense. Because the primary goal is never to fight or dominate. It is to disrupt an attacker, create space, and escape.
Period.
I don't think they actually, peruse on once they start giving examples of the word. Stop looking at Webster and all them other dictionaries and only going with the first one that fit you.
Hmm.
This
Oh,
ain't
you
the
mean like,
Bible. You don't get to
never
pick
mind.
and choose what verse you want to follow. Read the full thing and then come up with something. That's all I'm saying.
Man, you snatched that right out of my mouth. You mean to tell me so they can't act like some of these alleged ministers out here? I can't even call them preachers. I wouldn't even call them ministers. Falsified prophetizers. That's what I'm gonna call it. Falsified prophetizers.
Oh, the for-profit preachers? Yeah,
And the one we got in the White House. That's the whole point though, Dustin. That's what they you know, that's what they don't realize, that many of us have read the sub and the root, the Edomine, the entire explanation, plus some of what these terminologies actually mean. And so and I will say we have to do it, especially because too often black people are blamed for the aggression or for the fear others project onto us, right? And even when those same people chased, profiled, concerned, or confronted, or even provoked us first, and then and then there's a retaliation. I saw earlier where one guy, white guy, came from behind a group of individuals, sucker punched a black guy from behind in the front of a whole bunch of police officers. And the first person the first people that they corralled were the black individuals. And so it's like we can't even defend ourselves against, some of these happenings that just so happen to go on. And if we do defend ourselves, if we raise our hand to master all his counterparts, then we're going to jail. Ooh, you going to jail. Who gonna pull me up?
When did fear of Black people become strong enough evidence to excuse what happens to Black people?
It became evidence
You
when
want me to repeat
America
that
just
for you?
look, your friend even had to bark. It became evidence when America decided blackness itself could be treated like a threat. Um, Especially fear of black people um, here lately have been used to excuse slave patrols, used to excuse lynchings, sundown towns, segregation, police brutality or excessive force, if you will, stop and frisk, neighborhood surveillance. I'll say it again, especially around election time, a trend and habit that yours truly, Dr. Campbell, has pointed out and have addressed to the city chief himself. And so, store profiling, following black shoppers, or following black people in their own communities, questioning them about where they reside, and all these other Karens and Kevins we are seeing being posted and blasted in social media, used again to excuse killing us and then investigating our character harder than the act that ended us up unalived in the first place. And let me name it right. It's not only white people who learned this logic. Again, we went down a list of individuals, especially the individuals who were given loans to come on this side of the tracks to do business that the lenders was not giving to the black business owner. So you came into our community and purchased some of these businesses that were on a fray because of the scheme or schism of integration. Yeah. And we've seen several times, whether it's a Asian hair store or an Iranian restaurant or a Arab convenience store, a Jewish linen store, a Latino hat spot. I mean, anywhere we've seen it. Some black folks too. Again, y'all have learned this new level of cooning till it's not even funny. And you tap dance for the best and sweat, even when it's cool for some of these individuals. That's why anti-blackness is so dangerous. It travels, it gets adopted, it becomes a business model, a policing system, a courtroom instinct, media framing, if you will. It becomes a way for non-black groups to say, we're not them, while living off of our dollars, our neighborhoods, our culture, and our labor. Make that make sense? So no, I don't automatically respect somebody's fear just because they say, hey, I'm afraid. Lower your tone. You don't have to get you don't have to get angry. To heck with all that. Fear can be real, but fear can also be prejudice. Fear can be arrogance, entitlement, contempt, property panic, and like I mentioned earlier, anti-blackness conditioning, if you will. Fear can be a lie people tell after they already treated a black person or a black body like a problem to be solved. We're not math problems, we're not arithmetic. Just because you took years and years and still taking years and years to understand the black people and how we don't respond to y'all's imposed struggles, man, yeah, yeah. White, or the way they weigh black fear, the way they weigh black vulnerability, the way they weigh fear of being chased, fear being surrounded even. No, no. You can misread us all day, every day. But one thing you cannot say is that we are of a savage people with all the savagery that white and others have done in this country, especially to the brown and black body. Check question number 1. Say it straight. Who fear does America believe fastest? Store owners, put a 1 in the chat. Police, put a 2 in the chat. White citizens, put a 3 in the chat. Black youth, put a 4 in the chat. And put a 5 in the chat if that depends on who is on trial. Drop your number and explain why if you could. So I'm dropping that in the chat right now. Roundtable question. If justice depends on whose fear sounds reasonable to a jury, can black people ever walk into a court with equal humanity? And you're more than welcome to answer that chat response too. Dr. Campbell, you have the floor.
Okay, so to the chat question, I'm going to say number 3, and then
Popo?
number 2, and then number 5 is just being polite. And I'm gonna leave it right there, just like that. So yeah, white fear equals evidence, black fear equals the excuse to use force against black folks.
Correct.
Okay. The roundtable question. If justice depends on whose fear sounds reasonable to the jury, can black people ever walk into a court with equal humanity? Legally, yes, but practically not yet.
Mm. Mm. Oh man, they kicked us smooth out. You understand? They was like, hush that up. It's your turn this it's your turn this week. You know she was coming straight for the juggler, baby, man. They snatched that smooth up out of there. Smooth up out of there. Perry, you want to respond till she get back?
Yeah, I would first in order. I would say
Oh, she back. She back.
oh, she's back. I'll defer.
Ain't even at the,
Yes,
ain't
I'm
even had
back.
to
I'm
pull
sorry.
it out
I
like
don't.
that.
Yeah, it's the truth, and so they don't want y'all to hear it, right?
Correct. They snatched that right out your throat.
They okay. So once again, I said legally yes, practically not yet. They walk into the courtroom with the same rights on paper, but they also walk in carrying a 400-year-old assumption that they're is a threat and that their fear is a lie. For a Black person to win, the jury has to do something unnatural. See them as human first and not as a suspect first. Leave their fear over the fear of the person who called the cops. I was scared of him as just a feeling, not as evidence. As long as I was frightened is a strong argument than I was breathing. Equal human is granted, it has to be proven.
Yeah,
And
they
in a
hating.
second terrified country, that proof rarely comes in time. So the real question isn't can they walk in equal, it's will the jury let them live that way?
Man, I caught bits and pieces of it because I know they don't want you to say it, especially on tonight's show. Um, but like I said, I got bits and pieces of it. I'm gonna go back tonight and see if if we was able to hear it, Dr. Campbell. And they kicking her out. They was like, no. I said no. Perry, go ahead. You have the floor, big bro.
Yeah, I would say in terms of the chat question, I would say white citizens, police, uh, and then depending on who's on trial.
Mm,
Uh,
mm,
the store owner, I mean, yeah, I mean that's based on the case, um, but to move on to the question, I mean, even if we take the fear and the reasonable um idea that fear exists, uh I would say that becomes a byproduct uh of the case itself, but to look at it from whether or not black people can walk into any court with equal humanity, I'd say no. I mean that has nothing to do with fear. It has to do with our agency within the court and the perception that we face walking into
mm-hmm,
court. Uh, does not having that equal humanity always means that we'll lose. Um, Again, we can point to a few cases, the OJ case being one that at some point celebrity and your wealth can at least to some extent balance that in some way.
mm-hmm,
Uh, Not always, but we do have that case. Um, but for the average you and I or anyone on this panel going into a courtroom, no, it's not the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. It is the fight for survival uh, based on good argument. At that point,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
innocence is out the window at that point when you're in the court. So in these cases, and we see it being even more so. We uh, not just with black males, we're seeing it even more so now with our black females as
Mm-hmm.
well. The inability to see them as the delicate humans that they are. They are now seen as somewhat other, over aggressive. Their tone is very berative, and so when you begin to plug in all of those stereotypes,
Mm-hmm.
walking into any courtroom, whether it's for uh, a murder case or whether or not you're going in to to fight a traffic ticket. Your guilt, your guilt is first and foremost, and your fight now is really for survival and really just to get past court and live another day.
Mm, Man, Dustin, you got the floor.
I'm just go straight to the question. Since I have never seen a jury of our peers actually seated,
Mm.
I'm gonna say no, because apparently just the presence of us is a threat big enough to overlook anything.
Man, and man, especially a jury of my peers. I will say not unless the jury is forced to see black humanity before it judges black action. Because if the room already believes black boys are threats, black teens are aggressive, like Perry say, black men and black women are dangerous, black girls are grown, black families are suspicious, and black fear is unbelievably rampant at this particular time, then equal humanity is already compromised. The law can give the instructions, but bias can translate the instruction, if that makes any sense to y'all. That's why jury selection matters, like Dustin said. That's why, defense strategy matters, like Perry mentioned. That's why media framing matters, like Dr. Campbell always say about how they portray us in the media. Like, that's why courtroom language matters. Whether we know the difference between charges filed and charges convicted, we need to know the difference, because we had an episode with our platform host a little while back, where we went through that process of being charged without, you know, any conviction on hold for 5 years, which is ridiculous, redundant, and against the law, especially when it comes to the law of a speedy trial. That's why legal literacy matters, y'all. And that's why no black jurors in a racially charged case is not a side note. It is a flashcard, if you will, a flashing red light to many of our counterparts. And so, you know, you can't tell black people to trust the scale, when our humanity is not even sitting on the scale. And y'all say that justice is blind, and no, it's, and I hear about the system a lot. I hear about, oh, it's the system this, the system that, and I have to say something, because I remember individuals, whether they were white and or of black descent, use this same system to acquit individuals, use this same system to pardon individuals. So it's not the system, it's the folks that's playing the system and know these legal literacies. Um, I definitely want us to get into round two. The verdict starts before the verdict. Of course, police, prosecutors, judges, attorneys, evidence, media, and jury lanes. That's what we talking about in this, with this shot. So I want y'all to know, um, because too many people only react to the verdict, but the verdict is not where the story begins. I just definitely want y'all to know that. So that's what we're gonna be tapping on. Um, I hope Dr. Campbell is able to tip back in here, but Perry, here's your shot. How much power do prosecutors, defense attorneys, judges and jury selection have before the jury ever deliberates? And Dr. Campbell is backstage.
Yeah, if we
Platform
could
host,
look
could
at
you bring her up, please?
Yeah, I would say if we could look at this more as a film production, you got the prosecutor as the director, you got the defense attorney as the supporting actor
Mhm.
in this case, because the defendant is it is the star in this case, and you have the judge being the executive producer.
Mm, mm,
And you have the jury selection, of course, being a plot of supporting characters that come through the process. Uh, the one thing that is ironic about the Child case and the Carmelo Anthony case
mhm,
is that in both cases, um, they were both murder cases,
mm, mhm,
and in both cases, even though they had different outcomes, the black defendant was still uh the one caught up in the noose.
mm,
In the Carmelo Anthony case, um, and again, both of these cases were murder cases,
mhm,
and legal professionals have said in both cases that the push for a murder verdict was an overcharge. In the Carmelo Anthony case,
mhm, mhm,
uh, manslaughter was really the appropriate charge. If you look at if you look at the requirements for a murder charge, um, also if you look at the child case, because in the case of Carmelo, they said there was some premeditated action uh to go, to get to the murder event itself.
mhm,
He brought the knife. He said, "Hey, you mess with me, I'm gonna kill you." And so those were the prerequisites. But if you look at the child case, the young man had already left. Child picked up his gun, left the store, and went after.
mm,
So if that wasn't premeditated, but yet in the child case, they said they did not have the preponderance of evidence, and so they said, well, if the prosecutor had gone for manslaughter in the child case, they probably would have had chance at a different verdict. And so
mhm,
we look at this. I mean, this play on it that yeah, in each case they're saying it's an overcharge, but yet in both cases, young black men found themselves uh on the losing end, one in jail and one losing their life.
mm, mm. Man, 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 and that's that's a lot. I will say, and it's not a lot as far as like information, but it's a lot that's happening to people of you know of our descent. You know what I'm saying? Especially and I've seen some individuals with the best defense, um, some of the best defense, and it was, you know, lackadaisy, I guess, or predetermined by the jury. And then some individuals like Dustin and I do just mention, some individuals checked out from even serving in that space, and so um, We just so happened, or that individual just so happened to have 12 individuals that was ready to go to hell home. Period. He looked guilty, he guilty. Boondock say, hang him now, I got the rope. Um, but I mean, like the jury decides inside a structure somebody else has built. And if that structure by itself, y'all, is narrow, biased, incomplete, or even poorly challenged, the verdict can be legal and still stank. I mean, like funky feet. And that permeates across the room. Worse than Kintio. Tony, bring Dr. Campbell back up, man. She's backstage. Grassy sus. Um, Power shot for the guests. What should people know about jury selection, witness credibility, and jury instructions before they react to the verdict? Anybody want to touch on that? Chat, that's for
Ooh,
y'all too. If y'all know like I know.
I would if I was on the stage.
I think they
Oh,
stopped playing with your internet.
I know, huh? So before you get outraged at a verdict, know this. The
Mm,
trial is a stage, and the script was written long before the opening statements. Here's what they don't tell you: jury selection isn't about fairness,
mm,
it's about casting lawyers. It's about casting. I'm sorry. Lawyers aren't looking for impartial. They're looking for people who will feel their version of fear. They kick out anyone who's been profiled, arrested, or even has a cousin who looks like the defendant.
mhm.
They literally remove empathy from the room before it starts.
Correct.
Witness credibility isn't about truth, it's about performance. A shaky
Correct.
voice looks like lying. A calm voice looks like a sociopath. Add in a hoodie and dark skin, and that witness is threatening before they say a word.
Baby.
Yeah. Juries judge delivery, not memory. And memory is trash. But they they treat it like it's a dash cam.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Jury instructions are a trap. Judges hand jurors a dense, ancient rule book that sounds like gibberish. They're told, ignore your heart, just check these boxes. They can't consider systemic biases,
Correct.
history, or even common sense if it doesn't fit the narrow legal script. They
Correct.
have to fit a human moment into a legal straitjacket. Bottom line, when you react to a verdict, you're reacting to the finale. But the game, who got picked, who got believed, and what rules they had to play by was
Mm.
rigged in the casting, the script, and the stage directions, which Perry just told us just a minute ago.
Mm-hmm. 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 That is exactly why legal literacy matters, y'all. People, like I said, people hear verdict and think justice was simple, but the jury selection shapes belief. I mean, credibility shapes sympathy, especially if I can't get on the stand and show how human I am. Instructions limit choices. And if we do not understand the process, we may miss the we're gonna miss the damages that's entered into our community consistently. I'm gonna just put it that way. Because if I say what I wanted to say, this we might be banned. Dustin, you ready for your shot?
Indeed.
What happens when when the public blames the jury but ignores, and I mean 100% ignores the attorneys, the judge, the evidence rules. I mean, instructions, especially the instructions that shape the jury, what the jury could and can't see or consider.
I'm gonna quote the late Dennis Green. They
Mm,
are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook. Stop overlooking the judge being biased during the proceedings. Stop
correct.
overlooking the defense attorney mailing it in, putting in less
Huh?
effort than the social media lawyers. Stop overlooking all of the stipulations that was put on the trial and the speed is which they got this trial over with.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can tell you right now, I've
Mhm.
seen cases where people have been waiting for years, but somehow certain cases get pushed through and they done in a month. So don't let nobody off the hook for that. And remember, all those judges that you seem to not like for doing certain cases, they're all elected officials.
Correct.
Mm,
You
Correct.
don't have to see them for long.
mm.
Correct. And there's
Especially
also
when
an
you vote.
impeachment or recall process, and especially when you vote. Especially when you vote.
And if you don't think your lawyer did a good job and he sandbagged you, you can always contact the bar.
Correct. Make him lose his license. Tell him come sit down on the couch with the rest of everybody and watch court TV. Learn something this time, since you didn't learn that while you was in school. Shoot. Then, like you said, Dustin, the public aims at the last hand that touched the case, not every hand that shaped it. That's the mistake. That's the mistake we keep making. The jury made the face of the verdict true, but the only people or the only force behind it, if the investigate they was if the investigation was weak, um, that matters 100%. If the prosecutors overcharged or undercharged, then Perry said that. Going for a lesser charge because of the color of their skin. Because the conviction, the true conviction, won't fit because the judge won't allow it, the DA won't allow it, the defense won't allow it, and the jury has been persuaded. Let's go. Dr. Campbell, your shot. How do media narratives poison public understanding before trial facts are fully tested and understood? They hate her again? Oh man. Soon as I asked her that question, bro, like they know she coming with that seasoning and that straight razor. You welcome
Because they
back,
know
Dr.
I'm
Campbell? Yeah, with that hot towel.
coming. Are
You
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 ready
can
for me?
yes, ma'am, you can respond. You could throw your shot back, Queen. They did it again. Turn your camera off.
Nah.
When you come back, Dr. Campbell, turn your camera off. They hitting her gut punches, bro. I mean, like the whole time she's not responding, they booting her in and out. That's crazy. I ain't never seen her go in and out like that. Never seen her go in and out like that. Um, Anybody want to throw back Dr. Campbell's shot until she get back? And she back. Welcome back. Throw it back. Go on, throw it back.
Boy, they cut me off again, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like I said, they sell you the ending before the first witness speaks. And
Mm-hmm.
here's how it works. They pick a headline first, vigilante hero or trigger happy killer, whoever gets clicks. And the facts just have to fit the frame that they've already built. They choose the photos, a clean shaven mugshot from years ago versus a sweaty recent booking photo. Looks One looks like a human being, the other one looks like a threat. Same
Uh-huh.
person, different verdict.
Correct.
They platform the loudest voice. Whoever gets on camera first owns the story. The 911 caller, the prosecutor.
Man, and she calling y'all out just like I wanted to. I told y'all that straight razor gonna get you right, baby. That's gonna have you clean, smoother than the
Defense
baby's
speak.
body.
Huh?
They had cut you off and let you back in.
Okay, so what did you hear last?
Go back 3 sentences.
Okay. They platform the loudest voice. Did you hear that?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so whoever gets on camera first owns the story. The
Mm-hmm.
911 caller, the prosecutor, the ex cop commentator. By the time the defense speaks, the public has already made up their mind. They drop context like it's hot. No history, no nuance, no here's what led up to it. Just a 15-second clip of the confrontation, looped until it sounds like guilt. The bottom line is the court, the trial happens in court. The verdict happens in the newsroom weeks earlier. And by the time the jury deliberates, the public has already convicted or acquitted based on the story, not evidence.
Correct, correct. Media poisons understanding by turning pain into teams, if you will, Dr. Campbell. You're absolutely correct. Black versus white, merchant versus youth, victim versus defendant, angel versus monster, kid versus cop. I'm sorry, good kid versus bad kid. And once people pick up on a particular team and pick a side of that team, facts become secondary, Dr. Campbell. Like you said, I don't even care. What I don't care if we ain't got no rings. This the team I'm running with. You understand? That's how families get used, how communities get divided, and social media monetizes our grief, like we said in the episode previously. That is how people mock our death, mock our convictions, mock our incarcerations, and call it content. That is sick. Media can amplify pain without clarifying truth. And when pain becomes entertainment, justice get buried underneath performance. Man, somebody put me up.
So if the system controls who sits on the jury, what evidence comes in and what story gets told? Are jurors deciding justice or choosing from a menu already built for them?
I mean, you already that's already there. This is not a build your own pizza, Domino's. This is not pick
They
your
don't even know the
own.
kitchen exists.
Correct. This is not build your own hibachi. This is not what that is. This is a all you can eat buffet menu with the same dry things that's on there all the time. But I do want us to know that the jury matters. But the jury does not cook the whole meal at all. Most of them don't even season it. How about that? By the time jury, and it's not because the majority of them is white. Stop that. That's not why. Because by the time jurors sit down, somebody already selected the ingredients, right? Paprika is not a seed. I don't know. That's a garnish. Police gather some facts and miss others. Prosecutors choose charges, Defense attorneys, of course, they choose the strategy that they want to go by. Judges rule allegedly on evidence. And I use that allegedly strongly when I say about judges. Lawyers shape witness testimony, and media shape public imagination. Like Dr. Campbell say, jury selection shaped by the audience, especially if we got a jury summons, we'll throw that some gun in the trash or call the little number to get out of it and tell them that we can't make it because we got a white. So when the jury finally decides they are not choosing from the universe of truth, they are choosing from what the courtroom gave them or allowed them to see, hear, and consider. That's why verdicts can be legal and still leave the community feeling like what the I mean, like justice got mugged on the way out to the court. I mean, justice sitting in the parking lot covering itself because you done disrobed her and stole all her stuff and got her walking on the streets of Harlem with nothing on. Sometimes the verdict is not where justice begins, y'all. Sometimes the road to the verdict was already crooked. And I want y'all to know that. And that is why Black communities need more than outrage. We need a counterwatch, jury literacy, legal defense funds, and not just your annual dues to the NAACP. You need attorneys we can trust. We need people who understand jury instructions. We need people who can challenge and explain charges, right? We need people who can sit in courtrooms and document what is happening, facial expressions. You see how the courtrooms people be sketching? We need them too. Rapid response media teams, independent ones at that. Like the Knowledge is Power Network, it's coming. It's coming. We're going to be all over the place with our press release. A community legal education strategy before terror hits some more. Because if we don't understand the menu, we'll keep being shocked by what the court serves. And that's us. Check question number 2. Where does injustice enter the courtroom first? Put a 1 in the chat for police investigation. Put a 2 in the chat for charges filed. Put a 3 in the chat for jury selection. Put a 4 in the chat for judges' rulings. Put a 5 in the chat for media narrative. Drop your number and explain why. Roundtable question is what if the miscarriage of justice is not only the verdict but the entire road that leads the jury to that verdict? Dr. Campbell, you have the floor.
Okay, my answer to the chat question is number 1, the police investigation.
Yes, indeed, because they be skewed.
And then okay, wait a minute. The roundtable question: if the verdict isn't the crime, or wait a minute, then the verdict isn't the crime. It's just the final signature on a deal that was sealed way earlier.
Mm.
The real miscarriage isn't the guilty or not guilty. It's everything that happened before the jury even locked the door.
Mm-hmm.
The investigation that decided who to believe before asking questions. The evidence rules that kept out context, history, and humanity. The jury selection that removed anyone who might get the defendant.
Correct.
The instructions that force jurors to check boxes instead of ask, is this right? By the time the jury gets the case, the path has already been paved, curved, and painted with arrows pointing to one exit. The
Exactly.
bottom the bottom line, the jury just drives the car, but the road, who built it, who paved it, and where it leads, that's where justice really lives or dies. And if
Mm-hmm.
the road is crooked, the verdict is just a formality.
I totally agree. I t- 100%. And if anybody mad, uh, go
God bless.
talk to the Lord. Go talk to the Lord. That's all we got to tell you. Perry, you got the flow.
In terms of the chair question, I would agree uh, with Dr. King. But I would also add that while it may not be the first, it is one of the preeminent um, uh, acts of injustice, and that is the judge's ruling, because the judge gets to determine what comes into evidence, what stays out, what is allowed in the arguments. And so while it may not be first,
Mm,
it definitely sets the tone for the case itself.
absolutely.
It sets the tone for how uh, the prosecutor or the defense uh, may act, their actions, their objections, their motions. All of that is the judge's decision. And so when the jury is the spectator at that point,
Mm-hmm.
the jury believes that the judge knows this case better than anyone.
Hmm.
Uh,
Allegedly.
and so what is the old hip hop song, better to be judged by one than 12?
Mm.
Uh that definitely, plays a role here. But in terms of the miscarriage of justice, um it I truly believe that even though we look at these cases in terms of an isolated incident, or some things having some similarity to it, I really believe there is a common thread that lies through it. Because after you come through a case like this, even though the citizens attend uh, look like they're moving on,
Mm.
uh, they are caught in trauma. These
Absolutely.
cases leave a city in trauma. And so, and when you begin to look at the prosecuting attorneys who have motives, albeit maybe political ambitions tied behind uh, the cases that they pursue. Because trust me, prosecutors are not really going to try a case that they don't feel that they can't
They
win.
can
They're
win,
going to
right?
go to the ones that they feel that they can win, and they have a preponderance of evidence. Those that they can't, you might see your ass sitting in jail for 6 years until they decide whether or not they're going to drop that
Try
case.
this case,
So
yeah.
in either case, they're winning whether or not they show up in court or not. And the community itself is caught up in this trauma. I know just from being on a jury in, and it's crazy. I was on the jury in Harris County, uh, and the case was about a speeding ticket. The defendant was a Hispanic truck driver. He was driving a dump truck down 610, coming from Pearland, coming into town, right? I'm sorry, 288 at the 610 intersection. Now, when they did the jury pool selection, the one key question they asked all of us was, do you consider what do you consider to be the allowable speed over the speed limit as an allowable, that you shouldn't be prosecuted over?
Mm-hmm.
Most people said 5 to 7 miles over
Mm-hmm.
the speed limit. The guy who was on trial was 5 miles over the speed limit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, the driver of the truck was a Hispanic who could not speak English.
Oh.
When we got into the jury room to deliberate, all of these people who had said 7 miles, 5 miles over the speed limit was allowable. This guy was at 5 miles over. They all said guilty as hell. Let's throw the book at him. And I'm like, what? How? And they began to bring in other evidence that even the prosecutor didn't bring in. Well, these truck drivers, how they speed down the freeway. You know how they get behind cars and they're pushing cars. None of that was evidence that was ever brought in.
Yeah. Shouldn't even be in the deliberation room.
When it came down to punishment, I said, okay, well, if we're going to go with saying he's guilty, let's just make let's make the fine $1. No, they wanted the max. And I
Wow.
really I couldn't believe it, but yet you saw it right there in motion.
Right.
And there were a few African Americans in the jury, whites. I don't think there were any Hispanics, but it was, let's get this over with. You done took all my day off from my job. You done all of this. All they wanted was retribution and somebody to pay a price.
Yeah.
For what was our civic duty, to be peer judicial counsel in this case. And it is, I found out that, yeah, you really put your life on the line when you decide that you want a jury trial.
Especially as a person of color.
Yeah.
Especially as a person of color. Dustin, you got the floor.
As for the chat question, I'm just gonna say usually 1, 2, and 3 are all drinking buddies or golf buddies, so it really don't matter. But to answer the question, but no one wants to talk about them being buddies like that, but they usually are.
Correct. But
to answer the question, it's all part of the game, from how the media paints it for the public opinion to take over. Channel 12 and Channel 6. Y'all have a very bad habit of doing that. Yes. I'm talking directly to y'all. From the judges only telling the jury what's the max or the highest thing you can call once you find him guilty, but at no point give them the understanding that you can actually not find him guilty at all. I've seen that several times. Also, with the lawyer, they like to play games, especially the prosecutors. They like to say stuff they know gonna get struck from the record, but they know it's gonna draw an emotional reaction out of the jury. Like they gonna forget once the judge say, "Hey, just ignore what was just said." Who can ignore what they just heard?
Right.
Or the reaction of someone that just happened. but I'm just supposed to forget it now. That's why I say it's all the game they like to play.
I totally agree, Dustin. And everything y'all said, those are the things that we have to teach, y'all. The miscarriage may be in the shop. Just come with me if you will. The miscarriage may be in the shop, but the chase, the report, the charge, the missing evidence, the excluded evidence, the witness framing, the jury pool, the strikes from the record, things that won't be allowed, the instructions, the jury instructions themselves, the media storms, um, the lack of resources, the lawyers' strategy, the judges' ruling, if you will, the community's ignorance of the process. By the time the verdict comes, the injustice may already be baked in, y'all. That's why we can't only be verdict watchers. We have to be process watchers, court watchers, charge watchers, media watchers on both sides of the media. The ones that's talking about hanging and the ones that's not. The ones that see the miscarriage of justice. You got to know both sides of the entire coin. Because if only if only us show up when the verdict drops, we late. And late outrage does not save our children, nor do they save members of our community. That's not how that works. Late outrage does not change jury instructions. Better lawyers, put better lawyers in place. It does not, and I do mean does not, educate the community. Late outrage make noise, but structure changes outcomes, y'all. So yes, mourn the verdict, question the verdict, challenge the verdict, especially where the law allows. But also study the road, because the road is where justice often gets robbed. And I just told y'all, Lady Justice done ran smooth out of Harlem. She is in South Bronx with nothing on because of the miscarriage of justice. Her scale is wobbling, y'all. And the orange orangutan obviously is nowhere near this scale. Justice don't even touch this criminal. So yeah, Round three. Round three, who profits, who fears, who pays? Black dollars, non-black storefronts, anti-blackness, and community accountability. Dr. Campbell, your shot. I'm sorry, Dustin, your shot. What happens when businesses profit from black communities but treat black people as threats instead of neighbors?
Well, I've seen everybody else shot, so I'm gonna try to still clear their glass as I answer this. Because I can go on for a bit, but I'm just gonna try to stick to my little portion. So, so what you'll get is a divide in the reception that business and that money have.
Mm-hmm.
On one side, you'll have the appreciation, the knowledge of the history, and I'm not just talking about the knowledge of the history of that moment, but the knowledge of the people who are the customers, as well as the knowledge of the history of how that person themselves got there to even be able to be in that position.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have those folks, and by knowing the history, they're giving their respect to the people. And then, but on the other side, you have the arrogance and the entitlement. Like they're the only bridge for the have and have nots.
Ooh.
That there would be nothing to have if they wasn't there fulfilling that service.
Correct.
So those are the two clashes that you often find. You just got to figure out which one of them might be hiding behind that smile.
Oh, and they sound like a predator.
It is.
They sound like a predator.
Hostile
Oh
takeover.
man,
Dressed
I
up as a
promise.
storefront.
I,
Your money welcome, but you not.
Ah, would that start? Would that bell say "beam beam"?
Let me put my good eye on you.
Guest shot. This for the guests. We gonna all turn up on this. Whoever want to. What would real community accountability look like between business owners, resident youth, and neighborhood leadership? Anybody can take that.
Ooh, let me, this is why I try not to step on. Because, I seen a few local businesses. I appreciate y'all for doing what y'all do. It's not privately known. It's very public. All the events that we have throughout the city, especially with our youth.
Mm.
So get out there. All of them, everybody hungry out there. Supply some food. Supply some drinks.
Mm.
Right now, the VA needs some water. So drop
Mhm.
some off. You can do it under your business if you just want to get that little kudos. Or you can just make it happen. Give some food away, because there's people, especially at the storms going through it, hand out a little grub. We know at the end of the day, you got a kitchen full anyway.
Correct.
Make some plates, go hand them out. Because the food going to go to waste anyway. You might as well help some people.
Especially if the lights stay out for 12 hours plus.
Because I be sitting there watching, I ain't going to get no business, no shout outs, but I be seeing giveaways all the time with certain food places that appreciate the customers who look a certain way all the time. But then there's certain ones that stay quiet and wonder why they go out of business so fast.
Correct.
But then want to blame the city, talking about, oh, why we can't keep businesses open. That's why you don't appreciate your customers.
Man.
I don't care what your little special is for the few weeks you had it. If you don't appreciate the people who's coming there and show them the respect they deserve, they're gonna stop coming. Especially when your food starts slipping, because every business is gonna start slipping eventually. Because you're gonna get comfortable.
I promise.
What people ain't gonna do is get subpar food and subpar service.
Yeah. Yeah.
You sure right.
Part.
Now with blood, sweat, and tears money.
I was so ready to say it. And then you got the audacity, not audacity. You got the audacity to serve me my paid for items with an attitude. I don't care who you hire. I don't care who you hire. Clear store conduct standards. That's it. Community meditation, if you will. Play some life-giving music. Doesn't say give some stuff away for free. Cause you done been in our community 7 years plus. And you about to switch that over into another person's name so you could miss the taxes. Don't play in our face, like I said. Don't play in our face. Real investment calls for you coming out your poche, meeting a need. And that's what's wrong with some of the, Dr. Campbell, here's your shot. How do we call out anti-Blackness across other communities without turning the conversation into blanket hate?
Here's the sharp line. Call out the behavior, not the people. Attack the system, not the culture. Be specific. Say anti-Black policies, not these people. Name the action over policing, under hiring, stereotyping. Keep it to what's done, not who is.
Right.
Separate individuals from institutions. Not every person in the community is guilty, but every community has a problem to fix. Make space for allies to step up, not feel attacked.
Correct.
Use we, not you. Frame it as our shared work. We all believe in these stereotypes. We all have to exhale them. That's different from pointing fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Call in, not out. When you spot anti Blackness, invite a conversation. I know you didn't mean harm, but here's how this lands. Let's talk about why it stings. Change hearts, not just headlines.
I totally
Uh,
agree.
Center Black voices. Don't speak for Black people, speak with them. Amplify,
Mm.
don't ventriloquize.
I'm put your hand up my. Ooh.
I said that. Hold your own type test. The hardest critique should be for your own community. It's not it's not them versus us. It's all of us have work to do. Bottom
Correct.
line, call out the pattern, not the people. Punch up, punch up at power, not sideways at your neighbor. The goal isn't to shame, it's to sow understanding strong enough to uproot the weed.
Punch up at power. You understand?
I said that.
Stop swinging all wild and stuff. Cause you hit me again, I'm gonna push you down.
That's a
I'm just
message for
letting you know.
somebody.
That
Hmm.
yeah, right. Did you intend on hitting me?
Mm.
I mean, and I like what you said because you said, say we. We name the people and the behavior without losing discipline. That is
That's
how.
all.
We say Asian when it's an Asian. We say white when it's white. We say Jewish when it's Jewish, or Iranian, Arab, or immigrant, or even black when it's black. But we don't lie and say every person in a group is guilty. That's not what we're going to do. Of the same conduct. We obviously know who our allies are, Dr. Campbell, like you said. And if we don't, ask them directly. Don't beat around the bush.
Right. Let's
Ask
let's
them
let's not have
directly.
blanket hate. Yeah.
Correct, correct. But, name that with precision. Perry, your shot. Yeah,
That's
yes,
sharing the
indeed.
accountability.
Yes, indeed. It's all of us in this together. I don't know if I don't know if you figure your 2 cent ahead of your bus fare make you different than me. I'm still gonna get on the same bus. I just gotta look for 2 cent on the ground. What are you talking about? Perry, your shot. What historical and economic patterns allowed non-black businesses to build wealth inside black neighborhoods while black businesses were denied capital, loans, locations, and protections?
Um, well, to answer that first, we got to be like Sherman and Mr. Peabody and go in the Wayback Machine, and start with the fact that within our communities, whether we call them Black Wall Street in the Greenwood community in Tulsa, or the Black Wall Street in Durham, North Carolina, or even Irvin Street in
The
Beaumont,
Black
Texas.
Wall Street, Beaumont, Texas. Correct.
Uh, they thrived uh, long before um, those funds were made available. So we were a thriving community. Where we began to see this common thread really begins really in the 1930s with the FHA loans and redlining. And so what we understood in those raids and dismantling of those communities was that, one, they saw that there was gold in them bare heels.
Did you have to say it like that?
Yes.
and so the motive became one of policy and one of uh turning a blind eye to societal ills. Because with redlining, it forced loan institutions to begin to look at those businesses as high risk, which again, how can you have a community of well-performing Black businesses and say they're high risk because they're in the community? But then you go one block over and you have the white store owner one block over, and now all risk is gone. Which means now the bank sees it as much more favorable. But it wasn't just in terms of loans, it was also in the insurability of one's business, because the insurance company is not going to back a business that's in a high risk neighborhood. So the cost to insure your business now becomes astronomical for you to find sustainability against others coming into the community to plunder. So you saw Black business owners lose all because they had no insurance. They had nothing to fall back on. And then you come into the 1960s, 1970s, now that federal government says that, okay, we can't discriminate against redlining, let's ban that. Well, then the banks began to say, well, if you're coming in for a loan, now they set higher standards
Correct.
for you to get the loan. If you look at a comparable white business at that time, the loans were in their favor. They were able to expand. But then you say, well, what about location? We saw that Black businesses that were thriving could only thrive within their communities. They did not have the ability to go outside and to expand outside of that. But then when you look at the 1970s, it takes on a different look, because now you have Black business owners who are not Black landowners. And so you have a Black business who now is now at the behest of property owners and landlords who now control the pricing. Then when you look at the small store owners, not only was it a matter of providing goods, they didn't have access to the distribution channels to be able to take advantage of buying in bulk, such as high retailers. I mean, we want to talk about the the Wine Gardens and the Market Baskets, but they took our small businesses out of our community.
Correct.
As a result, because they couldn't compete, the price margins didn't allow them the ability to get the goods that the community wanted at a price point that the community could afford, became unattainable.
Yeah, 100%.
And so you see this continued policy versus fear within the market, which then leads to gentrification, which was their ultimate goal, to say, well, now let's look at this land. Now that we've deprived it, we've extracted it of its resources. Now we can come in, buy low, rebuild, and
sell high.
Remove the unwanted dredge that lives there.
Yep. Pierre, you ain't in Beaumont. I know you ain't seeing what's going on over there. Out here, I know you ain't. Somebody pull me up.
If your store survives on black dollars, but your fear of black people can turn deadly, are you a business owner or an occupying force with a register?
I'll say you're functioning like an occupying force with the register, because business ownership alone does not make you community. A cash register does not make you a neighbor. A lease does not make you accountable to the community that you serve. Dustin said that, and a storefront damn sure don't make you invested, especially when you're paying a lease on it. Again, if you're Asian, white, Jewish, Iranian, Arab, Latino, immigrant, or black, um, anybody operating in black neighborhoods, living off black dollars, but seeing black people as threats first, you're not operating in the sense of community, if you will. You're operating or occupying a market. You don't even know what your market demographics is because of where you set your business. You're a sense of convenience, and I mean that. If your money is welcome, uh if our money is welcome and our children are suspicious, that's extraction. There we go again. There we go again with that extraction. I don't look. I'm just telling y'all, if our elder customers buying whatever it is that they grandchild or great grandchild so desires, but our youths are targets, that's extraction, especially from the elderly or the senior population. If you call police faster than you call a mediator, that's extraction. If you keep cameras on us but never put investments back into us, that's extraction. Dustin said just a minute ago, feed us. You got us on camera. Go ahead and have your little moment. You could post it on social media showing people how you give charity to the Negro people. Because I know many of y'all, never mind. If you think property matters more than our lives, that is not business. That is colonial behavior with a checkout counter. And I want every non-black merchant in black neighborhoods to hear this clearly. You are not entitled to black dollars. You have to earn black trust, because trust is not earned by suspicion. It's not earned by being a suspect. It's earned by being respected and offering that same respect, especially by hiring us in our community, reinvesting in us, uh, not profiting or not profiling us, not just profiting us from us, but prospering with us, not chasing children with guns, shooting them in their back, or having conflict protocols. By knowing the community beyond what it spends. Oh, I know what she gonna buy. Here go my cigarette pickup. He gonna get a few. That's redundant. You know what I'm coming in this store to get, but you don't know what my issues are once I leave. That's not an investment in us. Treat black people as neighbors, not as threats. And black folk, especially black folk who follow anti-black logic, because I know some of y'all are out there. Some of y'all are out there. You will sweep the Asian parking lot and clean the Iranian bathroom. I know you are out there. And I have no quarrels about seeking gainful employment. Trust me. While you're the commentator against your own people. You're the officer, the influencer, or outside story told about your own people, negative stories about your own people. I hear people in my community talk negative about individuals who's looking to sell their properties to industries at $1 million. And we got neighbors in our area who talk down on the expectations of $1 million in the only community like mine. Go get y'all mind back, black people. Because when you help dehumanize black youth and other individuals, that same dehumanization will follow you, your child, your nephew, your cousin, your mama, your student, your graveyard, the deceased, your neighbor, your old school that's towed down. It grows, y'all. Anti-blackness grows, and it's never satisfied with one target. And if we don't challenge, especially that, whenever it appears, we become accessories, if you will, of our own danger and demise. Chat question number 3. Be honest, what breaks trust fastest between a business and a black neighborhood? Put a 1 in the chat for profiling, put a 2 in the chat for disrespect, put a 3 in the chat for fear-based security, put a 4 in the chat for reinvestments. I'm sorry, no reinvestments, and put a 5 in the chat for all of the above. Chat question, roundtable question, I'm sorry. What must black communities build so safety, commerce, conflict, and justice are not controlled by outsiders who profit from us but do not trust us? Dr. Campbell, you have the floor.
We should build what outsiders can't buy, bully, or break. And here's the blueprint.
Mm,
So
get your
grab a pen.
notebook.
There you go. Number
Martin and
one,
Martina Luther King.
number one, own the land. Who just said that? Yeah. Not just the storefront. Community land trust, cooperative ownership, buying buildings together so no landlord can kick you out or price you
Amen.
up. Own
Amen.
the dirt under the commerce.
Correct.
Mhm. Number two, build your own safety net. Not vigilantes, but peacekeepers.
Mm-hmm.
Train
Mm-hmm.
community members who de escalate, mediate, and intervene without calling the cops first. Trusted faces, not badges. People who know names, not just warrants. Number
Mm-hmm.
three, pool your money, rotate your credit.
Right.
Uh, Saving circles, credit unions, microloans within the community. Banks said no, fine. Lend to each other. Start small, grow wide.
Yes.
Keep the capital circulating, not exiting our community.
Correct.
Number four, create your own conflict resolution. Restorative justice circles, elders, youth, business owners, residents, sitting down before it blows up.
Mm-hmm.
Accountability without the police. Repair without prison.
Yes.
And number five, tell your own story. Community media, social accounts, local newsletters. Don't let the news or the cops define what happened. Control the narrative so that outsiders can't write your villains.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Number six, build potential power that answers to you. Not endorsing politicians, holding them. Regular town halls, recall threats, voter blocks
Mm-hmm.
that aren't for sale. Make them fear your judgment, not the other way
Correct.
around.
Correct.
Bottom line, the goal is to keep outsiders out. It's to make sure you don't need them to survive. Build so strong that their absence isn't a crisis and their presence is a choice, not a condition.
Correct. Perry, you got the floor. Golly. Oh,
Yeah, I don't know if I could add anything to that
yeah,
because
right.
that was a comprehensive list. But
The blueprint.
I guess in that I would say the need to understand to build our own distribution channels as well. It's not enough for us to provide the storefront and be the end piece. Uh, as Dr. Campbell said, I mean, we have to understand that we have to allow our money to circulate several times.
Several.
Uh, and we must get rid of this mindset that we have to be mainstream to make it.
Man, somebody please tell them.
Mm.
Dustin, you had the floor.
Keep it nice, sweet, and simple. Just have our own, and don't pull a BET. Don't go out and sell it once it get up to a certain level of growth.
Oh, wait, man. He said what he
Mm,
said.
I almost screamed out loud because he said what he said.
That's the
Said what
moment
he
I say.
said.
Golly. And I will also say, don't be stuck into a space and not sell and end up going bankrupt and not leaving a legacy at all. Jet and Ebony. Um, we have to build the infrastructure, everything that y'all mentioned. Just to mention, just a moment ago. Did I say that out loud?
Yes.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. We have to build the infrastructure of protection, y'all. Not just outrage. It has to be directed. Infrastructure. Court watch programs, jury literacy classes, legal defense funds, uh, youth, young adult, and adult know your right trainings, black owned business development and incubators, community mediation boards, especially like for conflict resolutions, merchant accountability agreements. I'm gonna say it again, merchant accountability agreements. Yeah, that goes to everybody. Rapid response media teams, economic discipline, um, um, uh, reinvestment standards. That's the only way you're gonna circulate that money in your community over and over. Especially because we don't own no banks, not many of them. If we do, and like Perry mentioned, with the infrastructure to where I'm gonna buy my supplies, I understand. I support black business, but we're not producing at no mass rate like talking about. And I'm not talking about buying from a third party to sell to us. I'm talking about us being the innovation, the creation, and inventors of business once again. Um, you know, and having selective spending when it comes to our money. I guarantee you could be a tire shop next to an excuse me, an Asian owned tire shop, and an Asian person will see your tire shop $5 less than the Asian owned tire shop, and they will still go to the Asian owned tire shop. We'll see the $5 less and think, oh, this sucker bootleg, and go to the Asian. I'm just saying, because if a business if a business profits from us because they know our money green, but disrespect us, we don't owe it loyalty. We don't owe that business. All that business on the loyalty. If a store profits from profits off of our children, we don't owe it uh dollars. We don't owe it our dollars. if a merchant extracts, and I do mean extracts from the entire block and gives nothing back, we don't owe silence. And I wish somebody would really tell these individuals, well, you didn't get the business. Y'all didn't start the business. We did. Again, it collapsed because you you were the recipients of the loan, lending, and capital that individuals that created business that circulated in from monies that circulated in black communities 7 times over was no longer available because you gave us access to bring our dollar to the other side of the track. That is power. Black communities are not powerless. I want y'all to understand we are underground. That is the difference. We have buying power, voting power, cultural power, labor power, spiritual power, organizing power. And they can't stand the fact that we see our organization in the midst of other communities. I know my clothes when I see it. I know my clothes when I see it. We have fraternities, church networks, elder wisdom, if we can grab it before they pass off. Sororities. Hello, Dr. Campbell, raise your hand. Neighborhood associations. Dustin, raise your hand. Veterans. I'm just saying, educators, artists, entrepreneurs, mothers, fathers, students, we are not powerless, not by far. And they know how much power we have and still obscure you and us from knowing the power that we possess. Make that make sense. And they benefit from our scattering. They benefit from us not knowing or even holding that power in a unified collective group. They want us to believe we are powerless, so we keep buying or begging systems to love us. No, that stops. We need to organize or reorganize what we already possess. Because if outsiders profit from us but do not trust us, then we must build enough legal, economic, media, and community power to make disrespect expensive. I remember another episode ago, Dr. Campbell and I, pretty much everybody on the entire crew said, racism is expensive. And I'm sure y'all are finding out, especially after some of Mr. Child supporters decided to get on social media and say, oh, well, y'all go ahead and boycott the Asian store. Go ahead and what you gonna do when we close the nail salons? I'm gonna go to Dr. Campbell because she's doctored to do it. What you gonna do when we take the Jordans away? Those are fake anyway, and Jordan ain't Jordan over there. What you talking about? Again, not blanket hate, discipline, not chaos, structure. Because when justice does not, and hear me well, when justice does not weigh the same, the community has to build its own counterweight and stick it on her scale. And maybe even paint her dress on her so that the individuals that keep robbing her of her clothes and her possessions won't see her naked body. Final charge. Dr. Campbell, Perry, and Dustin, give us, something that's gonna carry us for the rest of the week. And then I'll follow. Dr. Campbell, you have the floor.
So, throughout this episode, we have learned that the verdict is not the betrayal. It's just the last step on the road that was paved crooked from the start. So, this week, pay attention to the path, not just the destination. The jury, the verdict, the headlines, they're the finale. But the real injustice happens long before in who got followed, who got believed, and who got funded, and who got to tell their side of the story. So when you watch a trial, don't just watch the box, watch the whole building. That's the stay sharp, and make them earn your dollars and your respect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what that is. Perry, you have the floor.
Well, I want to leave with no, we've talked about this, and I know this past weekend, Texas Democratic Party had their convention. Um,
You messy. Go ahead.
but all of this um comes back to uh our participation in this democracy through the simple act of voting.
Mhm.
And this past week, I started working with a group down in South Florida on a project that's called Stand With Us.
Mhm.
And my hope is that we can implement this in a number of our communities because it begins with accountability. And the Stand With Us movement starts basically with us looking at the participation of those around us, our
Mhm.
siblings, our children, our grandchildren, our friends, those who we call our ride or dies, our fraternity brothers, our sorority sisters, our church members, our preachers and our deacons.
Mm.
It begins with looking at their voter history
Mm.
and not confronting them, but carefronting
Ooh.
them about what's ahead. And while it is getting a slow ramp up, I do want us to begin to think about how we can begin to turn the tides here because we've seen what inaction can do. We've seen what false promises can do. We've seen what listening to social media influences can do. We've seen what acting foolishly can do in terms of voting. And so rather than pointing fingers, rather than saying, I don't know why these young people, let me tell you, it's not just young people. It's 40 and 50-year-olds who are not
Facts.
voting.
Facts.
In the
They
last
don't
city
trust
election,
anymore.
we looked at in the last city election, we looked at those
Right.
55 and over, and while their participation was high among all groups, we saw a decline in that group, and that decline was based on one or two efforts. It was one based off of death. Our
Mm.
our senior and elders who participated are not able to participate at the rate that they were. Our our grandmothers and great grandmothers who are in the 40s and 50s
Mm.
are not holding up the grandmother and great grandmother line of being Madia that leads the family.
Man. Matriarch gone.
So we have got to hold each other accountable in a way that we haven't before. And so we do have the information. That information is available now. If you say, hey, if you want to drop us a line here at the Roundtable Talk Show and say, hey, give me a list. I want to look at my friends and my neighbors. It's public domain. We're not giving
Correct.
you any secrets.
No secrets.
But if you want to use it to say, hey, we really need you now. I see what your actions have done, but now here's the time to correct it. We need to start having those real heartfelt conversations now because we can't wait to September and October. We're dealing with purged voter records
Yeah.
and what was it, 2 weeks ago? The Secretary of State resigned
Wow.
because of a whole lot of infighting. And so
Yes.
when you look at that sense of chaos leading into this election, it's not time for finger pointing. It's time for us to
Showing
dig
up,
our
man.
heels in and say, no, I've got to have some uncomfortable conversations with some
Right.
people I love to get them back on the right track.
Right. Absolutely. Dustin, you're at the floor.
You come word of the damn hit your quote of the week. Coming from a source that, some people may know, some people may not, by former NBA player Michael Beasley, who said, "You can't pay for morals." You understand? If you do anything for $1, you'll do anything for $1, and that's nasty.
Mm, tell him again, Dustin. Buzz it.
It says you can't pay for morals. You understand? If you do anything for $1, you will do anything for $1, and that's nasty.
Nasty. And not Miss Janet, Miss Jackson. Either. Man. Man. Um, I definitely want to say this before we close because I know I stepped on a whole bunch of people's toes. And I'm not gonna apologize to it at all. But I do want to clarify something and put people in their proper place. To Asian, white, Jewish, Middle Eastern, Latino, immigrant, and other non-black business owners doing right by black communities, respecting residents, hiring locally, and reinvesting, listening, protecting children and others in our community, and treating people with dignity. Stay at this table because you are more than welcome as an ally. We see you. But to the ones surviving off of black dollars while treating black people like danger, let me be clear. You are not community partners. You are extractor points. You do not get offended when the community starts asking what you give back. To the people of color who think anti-blackness is your shortcut to acceptance, understand this. Proximity to whiteness will not save you. You may get temporary comfort. You may get a little access, maybe a little safety. You may get to feel above black people for a reason or a season. But power will use you and still remind you that you are disposable when it is done. To any Asian, white, Jewish, Iranian, Arab, Latino, African, migrant, Caribbean, immigrant, or other business owner operating in black neighborhoods, this is not an attack on your identity. Trust me. This is not an attack on your identity. This is a demand on your conduct. Respect the people whose dollars feed your family, not your store, because we can find another store to go to. Our dollars feed your family. Respect the youth whose neighborhoods you entered or who you allowed you to be there. Respect the elders whose community made your business even possible in the first place. Respect the grief when harm happens. Respect the fact that black people are not just customers. We are the community. And if you cannot respect that, do not be shocked when the community organizes its money, its safety, its attention, and its trust somewhere else. To black folks who defend every outsider harder than you defend our children or yourself, wake up. Wake up. Wake up. You can be fair without being foolish. You can reject blanket hate without becoming a mouthpiece for anti-black contempt. You can hold black youth accountable without feeding them to systems that never saw them as children in the first place. Mind you, you're not that far removed from the same system that they are going back to. I'm just saying. Don't let everybody else or somebody else fear teach you to abandon your own people. To the court, stop pretending race disappeared when jury instructions began. Bias does not vanish because somebody says reasonable person. A reasonable person in a book that I shared with a few friends of mine, according to it, reasonable people were balling Negroes and eating them. The court is not holy just because everybody stands when the judge walks in. I just want y'all to know that. Family, tonight was not about pretending two cases are the same. They are not, they were not. Tonight was about what different cases can reveal about a system or the individuals in the system. A system where some people's fear become defense and our fear becomes doubt. A system where black children are made older before they are even protected. A system where black youth and other individuals can be turned into threats long before the facts settle. A system where verdicts may be legal and still leave the community feeling like the spirit of justice was disrespected. The spirit of justice was disrespected. A system where media can inflame pain faster than it clarifies truth. And when truth come out, they are not either one of the ones running to the front to correct themselves. A system where anti-blackness can come through and hide its hand that chooses to carry these oppressions. But tonight cannot end with just anger. Anger has to become structure. So let me leave us with this word. Build everything we mentioned tonight. Take your time and go back and find out the tools that we said you can use. And of course, teach jury literacy, create legal defense funds, create community mediation bonds, boards, land trust, land banks. And if you can't create one, find one and put your property in it. Organize spending. If they don't respect you if they don't respect you, they dog sure don't respect your dollar because you worked for it and they ain't gonna give you no more. And stop letting people profit from us while fearing us, because if justice does not weigh the same, then we better stop waiting for the scale to love us back. We better learn who to battle and who to build a scale with. Who balances it? Who profits from it? Who explains it and excuses it? And what power we must build so our children are not weighed as threats before they even seen as human. That's what I wanted to say. To my co-hosts, Dr. Catherine, Perry, and Dustin, thank y'all for bringing y'all minds, your honesty, and your fire on this evening. And man, I love the fact that we hit the oppressors right in their kisser. I promise. To our guests, if you joined us in our live and or if you go back and watch it, thank you for stepping in. Leave comments, share, like, and subscribe to this channel. And to everybody else's social media tags as well, if we have them available for you. To every viewer and listener, thank you for sitting with us with this in a conversation that refuses to protect comfort over truth. This has been episode 67. Justice don't weigh the same. Until next time, watch the courtroom, watch the storefront, watch the media, watch the language. protect our children, organize our dollar, and build our defense. And never let anybody, and I do mean anybody, convince you that fear of black people is more believable than fear in black people. And as always, stay prayed up, stay prayed up, stay prayed up. God bless y'all. Good night. Thank y'all for watching.